Welcome to Socrates Beyond Time, a place where I share stories inspired by the thought-provoking spirit of the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates through slow, deep, and contemplative dialogues. In the series Socrates and the Masters of Persuasion, Socrates journeys across time to meet influential figures throughout history, engaging them in conversations that explore the true nature of persuasion, not merely as a technique, but as a way human beings connect with one another. Though these encounters are fictional, the spirit of Socrates and the insights revealed in each dialogue carry a timeless value, inviting us to reflect on how we think, speak, and influence others. If you'd like to explore this journey more deeply, you're warmly invited to visit socratesbeyondtime.blogspot.com, where these reflections continue, quietly yet meaningfully. There are encounters that do not turn outward to the world, but quietly turn inward. When Socrates meets Gautama Buddha, the question is no longer how to persuade others, but becomes how to understand oneself without being governed by it. One walks through Athens with unending questions. One leaves the palace to journey into the depths of silence. Between them, there is no debate, only a very gentle reflection. Does human suffering arise from never having enough, or from never truly seeing one's own nature?
Northern India, 5th century BCE. Vedic rituals were still performed. Brahmins recited sacred chants. Sacrifices, asceticism, scriptural knowledge, all were regarded as the path to liberation. Salvation moved through ceremony and caste. The order of that time believed truth must be transmitted from above. Those who knew instructed those who did not. Seekers were to follow established forms. The path had already been drawn by tradition. Amid that landscape, a prince left his palace not to found a new doctrine, but because he could not turn away from suffering. Birth, aging, sickness, death, these images did not leave him. What set him apart was not social reform, but the determination to seek the answer himself. He tried extreme asceticism. He practiced meditation to exhaustion. Finally, he sat beneath a tree and resolved, if he did not see clearly the nature of suffering, he would not rise. That moment was not loud. There was no crowd, no proclamation, only an inner awakening that the root of suffering lies in attachment and the path of liberation lies in direct seeing. From then on, he began to speak, but not to win debates, not to overpower through persuasion, only to point out the path and let others walk it. Those who listened practiced. Those who did not, he did not retain. A profound shift occurred. Persuasion was no longer about pulling others to one side, but about helping them see for themselves. Socrates stands at the edge of the forest, watching people sit in stillness without compulsion. He hears no technique, he sees no pressure, and he wonders, when speech is not meant to conquer or control, but only to illuminate, is the greatest influence the one that does not try to influence at all?
I have heard that you abandoned your palace, abandoned power, even abandoned promises of a better life. And yet, people still follow you. Why?
The man opens his eyes. His gaze is so still that Socrates feels seen through.
I do not invite them to follow. I simply sit down.
Socrates is surprised.
In my homeland, one who does not speak is forgotten. One who does not debate does not exist. But you seem to have nothing to prove.
Buddha nods gently.
There is nothing to prove.
A silence passes. Not heavy, not empty, but full.
I have met many who persuade through words, through ritual, through social order. But I hear you persuade no one. Then how do you influence people?
Buddha looks towards someone who rises and quietly walks away.
I do not influence. I only point out suffering. One who sees suffering seeks a way out.
Socrates furrows his brow.
But what if they do not see? What if they have grown so accustomed to suffering that they call it normal?
Buddha replies softly.
I cannot see for them.
Socrates sits down opposite him.
In my time, selling or persuading means making others believe they need something they had not previously considered. But you seem to do the opposite. You help them see that what they cling to is not secure. Does that not unsettle them?
Buddha smiles faintly.
Confusion is the beginning of awakening. One who has never been confused has never looked deeply.
Socrates is silent.
If you do not persuade, do not promise, do not motivate, why do people still sit here day after day?
Buddha picks up a dry leaf and lets it fall gently to the ground.
Did you persuade this leaf to fall?
Socrates watches it descend.
Everything is already falling. I only remind them to look down.
A light breeze passes. The meditators remain unmoving.
If a merchant were to ask you, "How do I make others say yes?" what would you answer?
Buddha looks at Socrates for a long time.
I would ask him, what do you want them to say yes to?
Socrates flinches slightly.
If it is to fill your own emptiness, then no matter how many times they say yes, you will remain lacking.
Socrates inhales deeply.
In Athens, I question people so they realize they do not know. You help them realize they are suffering. Do these two paths meet?
Buddha nods.
When one realizes he does not know, he may still pretend. When one realizes he is suffering, he cannot hide.
For a long time, no one speaks, only birds and breath.
But sir, if you do not persuade, do not guide forcefully, do not compel, will people truly change?
Change imposed is a change of form. Change born of direct seeing is a change of root.
Then what is it to point the way?
Buddha looks toward the narrow path leading deeper into the forest.
To point the way is to say, the path is there, and to accept that some will turn away.
Socrates smiles sadly.
In my city-state, those who persuade rarely accept rejection.
Because they need the result. I only need the truth.
The sun rises higher. Socrates stands.
I began this journey to understand the art of persuasion, but meeting you, I feel as though I am learning how to let go.
Buddha rises as well, palms joined.
Letting go is not losing. It is ceasing to grasp what was never yours.
Socrates bows deeply. When Socrates leaves the forest, he hears footsteps behind him, yet no one follows. He realizes something humanity would only name much later. Not all influence requires strategy. Not all persuasion requires words. Some change the world simply by refusing to deceive people about their suffering. Buddha did not sell the path. He only pointed out, you are suffering, and suffering can end. Whether to walk or not is the freedom of each person. Socrates continues on, lighter in heart. He understands that before learning how to make others say yes, one must learn to look directly at the truth, even when that truth is uncomfortable. The journey continues. And the third lesson, quiet yet the deepest, is this: enduring influence does not begin with the desire of the speaker, but with the awakening of the listener.